Welcome to a new podcast. Today I'm joined by Bart. Bart is one of my students, and today we're just going to talk about e-commerce, Bart his story. I think it's fun to get into the 21-day challenge and do a quick overview, maybe discuss some beginner struggles and how to overcome those. And yeah, just gonna have a nice talk. I'm pretty excited because you're pretty relaxed, but you also have this. Jürgen would have said, Jürgen's not here by the way, he's sick. Jürgen would have said cheerleader spirit.
Really? What's that?
Just excited, I think a lot of people in the 21-day challenge too, they're very happy to have you as a coach because you can be very motivating, especially for beginners, but I think for everyone. I hope we're going to have a nice talk.
For sure.
Maybe just a quick introduction to start off with.
Yeah, so my name is Bart. I'm 25 years old. I've been doing ecom for about 3 years right now. And I was also a coach during the first and the second 21-day challenge in Thomas's course. And that's I suppose that's pretty much it.
And let's just go back to the beginning, because I was thinking today, I don't even know like your full story. I know that you've been doing e-commerce for a while, but I'm not exactly sure what you did. But let's go a little bit back before that. Just a quick recap of your childhood.
Oh man, my childhood. I think I grew up like a pretty standard, like straightforward family. My parents got divorced when I was younger. I wasn't poor. I wasn't rich. I was a pretty average guy. Always was kind of, not really paying attention in school though. Never been doing that. Always trying to copy everybody's work.
Mm-hmm. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So pretty standard childhood, I would say.
Okay. And what did you do? Did you go through school? Did you finish school? Like.
Oh yeah. So I went to high school, and I was always I wasn't really like a troublemaker, but I was always like this dreamy kid, right? So having a hard time paying attention to everything. So I got this. I always got like extra homework and stuff because I didn't finish my initial homework, and I had to stay late at school and stuff to finish everything. And so I was not like a troublemaker, but I wasn't good at school either. I finished that. Wasn't the highest level either. Like I think my CITO toets for the Dutchies, they will know. I was like 527. 527, which is pretty low. You can, with that score, you can just make it to VMBO, MAVO, which is like a pretty standard level of schooling over here. So wasn't really the smartest guy, but I was always like someone that was seeing chances in and opportunities. So whenever I was doing something, I always try to, how can I make money out of this and stuff like that. So and I didn't really see that until later when I continued studying. So the first time I really noticed that I'm like really entrepreneurial was when I went to the school after my high school. I'm not sure what the English name is.
University.
Yeah, it's like
college.
University, then MBO, so that's like a level below. So I'm not sure if that's university.
I think college.
And, college. So I went there, and so I did a study in web development. So I learned how to code websites and stuff, make like backend programs. But also there, like I wasn't really paying attention. I was just doing a lot of fun things, like I was gaming a lot, I was skateboarding a lot, and all that stuff. I wasn't really paying that much attention in school. But one thing I noticed when I was in school, like, hey, right now I'm definitely not the smartest guy in my class. Um, However, I was learning how to develop website, and that's what I was seeing on one end, and on the other end I saw already, companies and potential customers
Mm-hmm.
that were in need of a website. So I saw like, an opportunity coming together, and yeah, that's kind of where my entrepreneurial story started. So from there on, I just started developing websites, and I think I sold my first website for like 600 euros or something when I was,
Nice.
I think I was like 16 back then. So that was pretty decent, and all these classmates, they were like, because they were all working at the grocery store for like $4 or $5 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, like the first website, that was a big failure. Like I probably worked like 100 hours on that. So
What
in the end, it was like only like $6 an hour. But
what did you build it on?
yeah, like
WordPress?
PHP, I think. So I coded everything myself.
Oh.
Like I said, I wasn't the smartest guy. I just saw I was just a guy that saw like an
Mhm.
opportunity, coming together. And so yeah, I definitely wasn't the smartest guy, but I
Well,
just
if you build a website and code everything yourself, then I think
Well, I mean, I just looked on the web, like, because I mean, I wasn't really paying attention in school. I was for that specific subject. I was in school, but I
Mhm.
didn't really learn it over there. Like, I kind of just figured everything out myself, and
yeah. And did you have a business or did you just sell it?
yeah, just sort of like at one point where it got more serious, then I went to the KVK.
Mm-hmm.
In the Chamber of Commerce, registered myself, made sure to do everything official. But I think the first one, or I think it was only the first one that I did, like
Mm-hmm.
just got paid like that, even cash. I don't know, can't remember. But yeah, I worked like so many hours on that, and yeah, I think from there on it just took off. I tried some things on and off, and I continued doing the website things.
Mhm.
And at some point, I got all these like maintenance contracts where I pretty much, provided like a monthly service for all these websites, where they paid me like $50 a month, and I just
So
maintained.
this was actually like your first business.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How old did you immediately
No,
register when you were 18 or?
No, yeah, I think I officially registered when I was 18, and it was just on and off, because I wasn't really making a living out of it. It was just, something I did for
Side
fun.
hustle.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's I think I registered when I was like 18 or something, and then I just tried doing that. I also had, I lived at my parents' house, so I had a really low cost of living. So yeah,
Nothing to lose. No
nothing to
risk.
lose. I think that's has always been my mindset. Nothing to lose, just go for it.
Mm-hmm. I think we have some similarities. I also did skateboarding, as you know. I also chose to go to the skate park instead of study or work on my school.
Mhm.
Do you feel like well, I have two questions. First one, do you feel like that, for me at least, it was like I couldn't really handle authority. So whenever someone said that I had to do something, I started asking why. Usually came with the conclusion, well, I'm not going to listen to them. What can they do? So I just skipped school. Like I also wasn't like, well, I was a little bit of a troublemaker. Some teachers really hated me, but I also just skipped school a lot, didn't study. So, but do you feel like these? First of all, did you have the same? Like, did you have trouble with teachers' authority, or was it more like, no, I'm just more laid back and I just don't do my school work?
Yeah, I think I didn't really have a problem with authority. For me, it was just I wasn't paying attention in school. Like I was just dreaming all day, like
You just
dreaming.
did like the bare minimum to get your degree.
Yeah, and sometimes even below. Like So if my parents are watching this, they will know like I always went into like this last week of all these exams with like so many like low average marks. So I always just barely made it like every single year for the complete period of time I studied.
Mhm. That's better than me. Even in the last week, I wasn't motivated to do something. So
Yeah.
I just completely did nothing.
I mean, I had to like especially my dad, and I love my dad honestly, but he's very traditional. So he was always like, yeah, you need to study, you need to
Mm-hmm.
make the best out of it, or at least try.
Yeah. I think if my parents would have pressured me a little bit more, I maybe also would at least do something.
Yeah.
But there was also not a lot of pressure, or maybe it was just me who didn't care like about any authority. But I think I'm very grateful they didn't, and they just accepted
I mean,
that I do whatever I do. But okay, so no problem with authority. Reason I ask is because you see a lot with entrepreneurs, right? They
Yeah.
can't really handle authority, so eventually they get to the idea to do something for themselves.
yeah. So
Even small entrepreneurs, like
so for me, I wouldn't say it was authority. For me, it was more. Because the thing, I mean, I didn't really care about the authority thing. For me, it was just I was being limited in terms of creativity most of the time. That was really the thing for me, right? So when I was working like a job at the grocery store when I was just like 14 or 15, for me it was I didn't really care like someone telling me, hey, you need to do this, but for me it was more than, oh, but then I'm not able to really express myself in some sort of ways, or I cannot try to do something in the best way possible because there's already all these processes are in place, and you need to follow all these rules and stuff, and that was really the thing for me. Like there was no room for creativity, and that's what really bumped me out.
yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought of it this way, and of course, not for me. I know for a lot of people, like the school system is not the best to to discover your own creativity and stuff like that. Like the reason why I ask is I'm very interested in. I usually see a pattern in entrepreneurs, and I think if you look back for yourself in your past, there have been signs that show that it makes sense that you're an entrepreneur now. And for you, maybe it was like the fact you saw opportunities to make money here and there. That's one thing that you see in a lot of entrepreneurs, and the authority thing is a big thing that you see for a lot of people. So that's very interesting. And is there something else that when you look back of which you say, hey, this was probably a sign that I was going to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think growing up, like I always was only able to see upside in things, right? So see the most positive outcome of everything, and I think that really helped with my entrepreneurial journey. That even when I was like 13 or something, like when I went on like a skateboarding trip or something, then back then I used to. So I didn't do skateboarding for all my life. I used to ride BMX. Similar sports, but
so you switched to the other side.
yeah at some point because of a knee injury. It was really painful, honestly, because I really want to continue, but
okay.
So anyway, same scene, different sport. So yeah, when I was like 13, I went on this, and I was like just a kid from 13 years old, and I want to go on this, like it was like a World Cup or something for BMX in Germany. So it was like a 3 to 4 hour drive, and didn't really have anybody to go with, right? So I just went with these people that I knew from like a local park in Eindhoven. It's like a 30-minute car drive from my place. And I think I saw these people like 2 times, and they just took me because I knew like, hey, I want to go there. How can I get there, right? And I, these people, they were complete strangers. And my mom, she really trusted me, right? So So these people were like, I mean, they weren't strangers, but also it wasn't. If now that I think of it, it wasn't the most safe thing to do in that case. But yeah, everything turned out well, and in a situation like that, I also was just seeing the upside of everything. I was like, oh yeah, I need to go to that event. These people are going. They have a spot in their car. I can join them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have any money to go. I mean, I wasn't really in the position to go, but I went anyway, and that's kind of how I always managed to do all these things, like all the things I wanted to do and I really love to do. I always just did them.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't have the money, I always figured out a way, and I guess that really translates into my entrepreneurial journey as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Being able to make something when you're actually not in a position to do it. I think that really helps.
Yeah, I think that translates for sure. Yeah, I have some similar stories. Also, like joining older people that have a car when you're still young to go to some other skate park, to get there and ending up like almost crashing into a tree because they're reckless. But you don't think of this. You just think, oh well, I just need to get there and did this like optimism and positivity. Do you feel like it helped you to be like a happy person? Were you happy in your teenage years?
For sure. I was the happiest kid alive, for sure. Like, my life was just, I couldn't really care, honestly. Like, obviously I had, I had my situations at home because my parents were divorced. That's never a fun situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I had like the best childhood ever. I just, rode my bike every day. I didn't really care about school because I knew like, hey, everything will be all right anyway. And couldn't be happier, man.
Yeah. If you don't think it's gonna be all right, then you're probably gonna work really hard for school. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, it's but yeah. Then again, like. It's sometimes it was really tough, because my dad, he obviously, and it was very good that he did, in my opinion, because he just tried to push me to my best potential in school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he also noticed at some point like, hey, this is maybe not the exact level where you want to be. So everything turned out well, and I'm in a.
Do you feel like it was a conscious decision to be optimistic, or do you feel like you're just lucky and you're kind of born that way? Because as a child, I think like your consciousness grows. Like if you're a baby, you're not conscious of anything, and it grows when you get older.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it stops at some point, but do you feel like it was a choice, or you're just lucky to kind of have that personality?
I think it's a little bit of a combination. I think it's, because you kind of, because obviously, especially as a kid, you're very influenced by everything that happens around you, right? Because that's kind of how you're conditioned as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a place where I wasn't influenced too much emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in that way, I'm lucky, but I chose every day to go out, ride my bike, and I chose to not to care too much about school, and those were all choices, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I also know people that they got like a shitty childhood and stuff, and so yeah, it really depends on how you're conditioned during your childhood, I think, as well. So kind of a combination of both factors.
Yeah. Well, in I think if you like did make some of those choices, it also kind of showed that you're not just a sheep following what everyone else does.
Yeah.
So, and that's also a sign of like having that entrepreneur inside you. Okay, so when you're 18, you got your business, you started making websites. What happened from there? What happened the next years?
Well, I kind of did like the entrepreneurial thing, like on and off, because I was just trying to, figure everything out. I wasn't really, I wasn't around other entrepreneurs, right? So I was really one of the few guys. I knew like one good friend of mine was doing it as well, but besides that, like nobody was really like pushing it. Like we are doing with e-commerce, for example. Like in e-commerce, you have like a big community around you. Everybody's pushing really hard, trying to make the best out of it, and with that, it's really different, right? People just
But also not for everyone. Like you can choose to like do everything yourself.
For sure, but
it helps a lot.
For sure, but I was not in that environment where I would even think about the possibilities. Yeah. So yeah, but from there on, I just did the entrepreneurial thing on and off, and at some point, I tried to expand a little more, really start to make a living out of it because I still continued to do my studies and. But yeah, then at some point, 2020, like it's pretty cliche, but COVID came around. I was doing. It was pretty funny. I was listening to Garen's podcast the other day. It was a really good one, and I had the exact same thing because I was in my third year of school, of my bachelor study, and I was doing an internship, and I was like in my third year of school, and then I think I was at a birthday party or something, and I was talking to my uncle, and my uncle is a quite successful entrepreneur. It's a very big business, and I was talking to him, and he mentioned dropshipping, right? So I kind of I had some entrepreneurial experience, so I just went on the internet, looked it up, did some digging, and I think it took like a few months, and then at some point obviously I got infected by all the cookies and stuff, so I got infected, and at some point I bought the course from Joshua Katz, and yeah, from there, like the moment I think even the moment when I went to like his live training, that was like a complete shift for me, because at that point I got like exposed to the potential, right? So there was already like a big white shark in me, but you just expose the bait to this shark, right? So from that moment on, I just started working on a course. I think I even I bought like the course with my last money, so I didn't really have any money to advertise at that point yet. I didn't really save anything because as you know, I was just like the BMX guy, not really caring too much, just making enough to afford all my train tickets to the skate park. So yeah, at that point I just bought the course, started working on it, but I was still in school, right? So so what I did is I just followed.
This was in 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, like post, like I think it was in. Or maybe even 2019. No.
2019 is before COVID. COVID started in March 2020. Oh
yeah, then it was by the end of 2020.
Okay.
End of 2020. Yeah. So so like September or something. So I started working on a course, but then I was spending like all my time on the course, right? Watching all these videos, doing mindset, reading books, the complete Mindshift thing. I wasn't really paying attention again in school, and I was lacking over there because I had to do like an internship, but it was from home, and like I started to notice like, hey, I'm getting, I need to catch up, or I'm getting behind too much, and but I also knew that school, I had this gut feeling that school wasn't my thing, right? I always had that.
And you were still doing the IT study?
Yeah, it was a different one, so a follow up after that one. So the IT one was like a one level lower, and this one I was doing, it was like a business bachelor IT study, something like that.
Okay.
So I did that study, but yeah, obviously I was lacking in school, and I was talking to my. I did a study at Fontis, and they have this special thing over there where you get like more time for your tests and stuff like that if you have a own company. So if you're an entrepreneur, you can get like special treatment, to say so. So, but in order to get into that program, I had to talk to this guy, and I was talking to him, and I had it was like an interview or something, and I was talking to him, and I said like, hey, or he said to me like in the beginning of the chat, like, because we were just talking back and forth. I was saying like, hey, I'm starting this e-com business, and at this point I wasn't really making any money, right? I just had the idea like, hey, I'm starting this up, I want to do this, whatever. And but there was so much energy, and also you could really feel my passion, exposing itself during my chat with him, that this guy asked me like, hey, why are you still in school?
And you didn't even make any money yet?
No.
Okay.
He asked me, hey, why are you still in school? Because it seems like you already found your future thing, like the thing you want to do. And that was, for me, that was like, oh shit.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And he was your internship.
No. He was like a special guy from the school I was in, and he just managed that whole program for entrepreneurs, right? So.
Okay.
So he just said, I think I was already making like some, but like making a big loss every month, right? So just making some like 300 euros revenue and then like 1k ad spend or something like that, And so what I did is I had a chat with him, and he really, he really triggered something within me, because I was like, yeah, shit, why am I still in school? Because I don't want to do school. I want to do the entrepreneurial road. I want to go there. I want to like risk it, or in my eyes, it was not even risk it, right? Because it was funny, because he was also asking like, hey, are you already doing like any numbers or something? Can you afford to drop out of school? And I was like, no, but I in my head, I already like made 100k, and I was like, yeah, but I will take care of it, no worries, man. And it was a good chat. So he really triggered something within me to start reflecting on myself, what I really wanted. And I think that night I also started talking to my parents. My dad being very traditional, like he said like, no, you continue your studies. So I had a lot of intense chats with him back and forth about dropping out. And at some point I just dropped the bomb, like I said, yeah, even I'm gonna do it either way, right? So
this is in your third year?
Yeah, my third year of my study, and I was already doing the study for like 4 years at that point, because I had like a little delay in my study.
So this man, this is unique, because this man basically convinced you to drop out of high school.
Yeah, and
he worked for the school.
Yeah.
Shout out to this man.
Yeah, I tried looking up his name one time in like my mailbox or something. I can't seem to find the guy's name. So if you're watching, Fontis, the guy that is from the entrepreneurial program, reach out to me. I want to take you out of dinner for something. Really thankful for you, man. It's
that's
really changed. Really did something for me.
I can also see how school maybe, or like school or whatever, thinks, hey, he's suggesting people who are not even money yet to drop out of school, but still, like the fact that he helps you to think of an alternative, that's huge.
Yeah, because the thing he said to me, like, hey, if you already know your path, like, and that's the thing you want to do, why would you bother going to school? If you already know, okay, hey, this is what you want to do, why would you bother going to school?
But like, no, like, I don't know any statistics on this, but I would say not even 1% of the teachers would suggest this to you.
No, I think even less.
Yeah.
Like, but and that's a funny thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm also a big believer of the universe. So I'm sure like he was my teacher at that point. Really needed to say that thing to me, because it really helped me open my eyes and realize what I actually want, and that's the entrepreneurial path, the path of high risk, high reward. And that I'm still very grateful to this day for that.
And then at some point you made the decision. I think this is also something that we share at least I think. But you had like a huge belief that it's going to work. Like you just
Crazy
said, like
belief.
I'll make 100K.
Crazy belief. Like now, I mean, from the very start, like I knew, okay, hey, I'm gonna do this. Like I was making like a 5K loss a month, but in my month I already was riding like a Range Rover or something, made like 100K a month. Yeah, for sure.
Do you
Huge
think
belief.
like Joshua's marketing skills helped you?
100%, 100%. And at that point in my life, I was also chasing another purpose, total different phase. Really, I really developed myself as well over time. So I'm definitely not chasing that anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's also wrong to just chase
No,
like stuff like that.
You mean the materialistic part?
Yeah,
But still, like I mean, like shout out to Joshua. Like he helped so many people escape.
for sure.
But the like the negative people, the pessimistic people, they would say, well, the fact that you believe that you can do it so much is because he marketed it to you.
Yeah, true.
But I think, like for me at least, it was like, hey, these people can do it, then I can do it as well.
yeah,
And so like, is it like really bad to do it? Because that's like the big discussion in under the normal people, right? Just the average person would say, hey, that's misleading someone, because not everyone is getting that result. Not everyone is getting to that point of being successful. But hey, if there are other people that can do this, it shows it's possible, and it helps a lot of people to create that belief. And for you and me, that worked out really well.
yeah. I mean, I think it's possible for everybody. Honestly, it really comes down to how much you want it. I think it's determined by a few things. So first thing is belief, right? How well do you believe in yourself, and how many other people already achieved such a thing, right? That's the first thing, belief. The second thing I think is important. How bad you want something, right? Like how hard are you willing to work for something? Because if you look at history, for example, like there are so many people that invented stuff, and like the light bulb, etc. Those were just people, just like you and me. The only difference, and this is with everything, and I think about this so often, because the only difference is that they had a belief that they could do something, they worked for it day and night, and eventually they succeeded. And then, in my opinion, the only bit of luck, and that is just a small percentage in here, is if something really works out, right? And inventing a light bulb, it wasn't never done yet before, so the odds of succeeding with that were a little lower than, for example, starting your e-commerce business. But if I look at the amount of people that own an e-commerce business, for example,
that's a lot.
That's so many. Like, how can you even think that that's not possible?
Millions.
Yeah,
you have to realize millions of people on this planet own a successful e-commerce business.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So turn it around. Like, 'cause so many people say, like, hey, how is it possible to success with an e-commerce business? I'm telling them the other way around. Like, how is it not possible to success with an e-commerce business? You have the right people that coach you. All the knowledge is out there. The people out there. The systems are out there. It's really up to yourself. Like, if you want to make it, yes or no.
It's out there and it's close. Like you can take it like any. It's
like,
you don't have to do anything for it in order to get it.
Yeah, just hard work. That's really the thing.
Of course, like to make it successful. I mean to get to the resources that you need. Like
for sure.
You have a laptop, you have Wi-Fi, you have everything you need. So
100%.
And it's crazy. I think we lost appreciation for a lot of these things. As simple as like a light bulb. You have to realize someone spent their entire life working on this one thing that we now use on a daily basis, and never think about the fact that someone worked so hard in order to make something that's so normal for us.
Yeah,
it's a good mindset to have sometimes, to be grateful even for small things like this.
Yeah, for sure. And also think about what's possible, right? Because when they invent stuff like that, it didn't exist. Like, if you realize that these people, they made something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's so crazy when you think about it, because like probably when they were saying like, hey guys, we need, this, we don't want this candle anymore because it's dangerous and it's not maintainable and stuff like that, sustainable. So let's look at an alternative. Let's invent the light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they will probably tell them like, hey, what do you mean? Like, this candle, it works fine, right?
Yeah.
And then they probably told him, it's crazy, you cannot do that, it's never been done before, no, it's not going to work, whatever. And then you had to believe, like, hey, but I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even though everybody was telling him wrong. And that's the same thing with everything you want to do that's extraordinary in life. If you really want to achieve something, you've just got to, trust your own self-belief and go for it.
But to boost that belief, I think it helps a lot to put it in perspective. Like inventing a light bulb, especially, of course now it's easy because you know how everything works. Like you can probably pull up a tutorial on YouTube on how to make your own light bulb. But back then there was no such thing. But that's hard because there's no such thing. Setting up an e-commerce business, if millions of people are already doing it, and half of those are having a coaching business next to it to help you set it up, I mean, it's not that hard anymore. So putting it into perspective like this, and for me, just seeing normal people, truck drivers, whatever, I looked up their Facebook profile. Most average people running a successful e-commerce business, then it was like, for me, it was like, well, if they can do it, then I can do it as well.
That's 100% true. And just like that, like we both have that belief, right, in ourselves and in the possibilities, but a lot of people don't, and I feel sorry for them, right, because that self-belief, I think it's developed a lot during your childhood, also during school.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of so a lot of parents, they teach their kids like, hey, go to school, fit in, don't experiment too much. They try to avoid the subject of money. So kids are conditioned like, hey, okay, I just, I need to fit in. And also, and this is what I also think that's wrong with the schooling system. And there is some developments regarding this, luckily. But the thing I think is wrong with schooling is that they teach you that failing is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Failing is bad, but it's the best thing in the world, because failure teaches us growth. Failure teaches us how to stand up and try again. And if you in school, they link failure to a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they say like, hey, failure, you shouldn't fail, you should succeed, because otherwise you need to do this year over.
Yeah.
Right? And they kind of link it to a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. With skateboarding, for example, like you need to fall in order to learn a new trick.
You fail so many times before you have one trick down.
And that's the same thing with all these things you want to achieve in life. Like, don't expect that everything is going all right the first go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect that, and you'll be off so much better. Don't expect when you start your e-commerce business that the first ad, the first product you're going to run is going to go perfectly fine and that you will make $1 million out of it. Mm-hmm. Don't expect that, because that's a wrong expectation. Expect to fail. Expect to learn from that and rise again, do it over again, fail another time, and then eventually you will succeed.
Mm-hmm. I was literally talking about this with my friend yesterday, about failure and about almost literally what you just said. Like, we all have this belief about failure that it's something bad, but literally life sort of created failure to teach you a lesson. Like, it's in your survival instinct to fail. You need to fail. If you don't fail, you never know what you can and cannot do. Like, from a like natural perspective, like if you're an animal or a baby, like you constantly try stuff, you fail, you learn, often an example often used is like a child burns his hand. He knows, okay, I can't touch that. That's hot. Failure, it's a lesson. Like the whole word failure is like it's negative, but I think you can replace almost any sentence where you say failure into lesson. Like if you have this mindset shift that whenever you fail, you no longer call it a failure, but it's a lesson. You're going to want to fail, and when you're going to want to fail, you're going to learn a lot, and your life is ultimately going to get better and better.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
All right, so I want to get into the mindset stuff later, but first we need to finish the story because you already I was already on the tip of my seat waiting to hear I dropped out of school. Okay, so dropped out, right?
Yeah, I dropped out, yes.
Okay, made the decision, dropped out. Parents probably not very happy with the decision.
No, I think I told my parents like, hey, yeah, I will just try this for like half a year or something, or a year, and then if it doesn't, I already had my poppadoses, so, if things didn't work out, I could still go back to school. So I burned my ships like
A little bit.
50-50. So if I want, but I knew I was never going to go back. Like the moment I dropped out of school, I knew, okay, this is the last day I will ever be at school.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, at a school that's a school like this. So, because obviously I love learning, because, I love learning with skateboarding. I love learning with knowledge, mindset, all these things. It makes me really happy. Also very satisfied when I learn new stuff, when I progress.
Also in school? Did you like what you learned in school?
No. School was the only place where I didn't like progressing.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was the only place where I didn't like it. But when I learn a new trick on my skateboard, and the reason why it's so satisfying and so good, such a good feeling to learn something new, is because okay, hey, I failed so many times before. I worked really hard. I did my best, and now I succeeded, right? So okay, hey, I've put in the work, I've put in the efforts, and even though the first time when I was trying it, it seemed like I wasn't gonna make it, I still made it. Mm-hmm. So you proved yourself. Now you didn't prove yourself wrong, but you proved to yourself like, hey, I can do this. Yeah. Right? When I set my mind to it, I can achieve it.
And with skateboarding, it's like, it's not hard. It's very hard if you step onto a skateboard for the first time and you attempt a laser flip. Like it's impossible. Sure. Nobody's gonna do that. No. But you also know it's the trick is very doable for almost any human being if you just put in the time.
It's the 10,000 hour rule, right?
Yeah. Like okay, if I'm just going to continue to attempt this flip and gonna learn from every time I fail, eventually you'll get to the point where you can do it.
Yeah, for sure. I think skateboarding is and actually every individual sport is very beautiful, because what it teaches is a lot of discipline, right? Because nobody is pushing you to go out there. Mm-hmm. Nobody. So when I want to learn something new on my skateboard, so a kickflip or another trick or whatever, nobody is going to push me like, hey, Bart, you need to go out there today, learn that trick, right? Nobody's going to do that. I need to do that on my own, so I need to be disciplined in order to go out there and learn something new. Mm-hmm. When I don't land it, nobody's gonna care. But when I do land it, it's gonna be such a good feeling, because I created all these discipline myself, and I made myself do that thing. Nobody put me to that, but I really did it on my own. And that's something that I'm taking with me for the rest of my life, like that discipline. It's really good, and it's with every individual sport.
I think especially in skateboarding, there's not a very big like work hard mentality. It's more like laid back, chill, just do whatever you want. Yeah. And especially in an environment like that, if you someone like Nigel Houston, for example, like how good you are at that point.
One of the best skateboarders in the world, for a reference.
Yes. If you're that good, you have to have put in like an insane amount of time. Yeah. And I think that just like at least makes me appreciate like someone who's that good, even more, because in an environment like skate parks and wherever, it's not really, it's not a sport like kickboxing, for example, where the whole mentality is more like disciplined and you have to come on time. There's like, there are things being drilled into you, so you get disciplined. That's not the case in skateboarding. So for someone to get that good, it's like it just showed like you have an insane amount of discipline.
For sure. And it's like that with a lot of individual sports, with skateboarding especially. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get back to the story. We dropped out.
Yeah, I dropped out.
And then you started working on your dropshipping business full time. What year are we in now?
Yeah, so 2020. So I started in like September, I think, with the course, and then dropped out in, I think, like end of October, November or something. And so yeah, but at this, I remember I didn't have any money and I was making a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where I got my S pen from and all that stuff, but I was making a loss.
No secret businesses on the skate park.
No, yeah, I think I still had some income from like the websites and stuff, but that was it. Like, I don't know how I managed, but I always kind of just managed with all those things. So I just managed to continue to run my business. But I think I made like 2K loss. So from October, November, I made like a 2K loss. Both months, so like 4 or maybe even more, like 5K a month, could be more.
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of loss. That's one thing I remember. And then December came around, and I was like, oh, well, I'm running out of money right now. I need to figure out something, because otherwise I don't want to go back to school. I want to prove everybody wrong. I know I can do this, because in my head I was already driving the Range Rover and stuff. So I knew I could do it, but I had to do something. So what I did is I got like, I think like 1K or 1.2K back from like that was like my college fund.
Mm-hmm.
I got that back, refunded, because I dropped out earlier in the year. And I invested all that money into like a one-on-one coaching. With his name was Rick. I can't remember his last name. He was like one of the coaches in Joshua Katz's course. Really good guy. And back then I was doing ads on Facebook, and I was running a store in the Netherlands, and there was so much competition out there, so it was really hard to advertise in the Netherlands. And then nobody really, or at least from like the European community, advertised in Sweden too much.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me like, hey Bart, like, go to Sweden. That was pretty much the only golden nugget he gave me. And I paid like 1K for that, or like 800 euros, just for that one nugget.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, like, go there, try a product there. So I set everything up, the store, Klarna, etc. And I think by the end of December, I found my first big winning product. And I think with that product, I did like 100K or something in revenue. So,
In Sweden?
In Sweden, yes. Just
Nice.
the rest is history from there.
Nice. And I think it was right around that time when everyone started to start selling in Sweden. Not everyone, but like the first
few people. Yeah, so I was one of the first, to sell in Sweden and go really hard there. And but yeah, it was an amazing time. Not a lot of competition, and it was a lot of fishes in the sea.
And what happened? Because you find a winning product, you start making a lot of money. Your business probably, I don't know how fast you scaled, but
I didn't scale that fast, I would say, like, because that was a thing. Like, I didn't have like a very long-term business mindset. So I found that winning product, and I just stopped testing products.
Mm-hmm.
So I just tried to scale that product with not that much knowledge. And so like I said, I did some solid revenue with it, but I didn't have a long-term business mindset. So I was like, oh yeah, just all short-term fixes and everything quick. And so yeah, at some point, I found like another winner, and then a few more. But then I think after like a month of let's say a month of 3, something like that, it dipped again. and then I continued to go a little slow. So summer back then was also really slow on Facebook. Right now I'm advertising on Facebook again, so I'm not sure if the summer is still a little bit slow there, but back then it was a little bit. So yeah, I just continued and didn't make too much revenue, but enough to have like a nice living. I did some holidays with friends and stuff, and kind of just continue to live how I used to do, like just make enough so I can do the things I love. And
no ambition to scale your business at that point, or
no, yeah. Well, I opened like more shops in Norway and Finland because I was in the office with some other dropshippers, and that really inspired me to go even harder because these guys were doing like 15K or 20K a day at that point, and I was just, yeah. I wasn't doing like 2K, maybe 3. So I had some better days as well though, but I wasn't really focused on building a long-term thing. I was just in a moment, seeing a lot of big numbers, which was totally strange to me because I was like, oh man, like I used to only manage like a few $100 a month. Salary comes in, a few costs, a few train tickets to the skate park, and that was it. And then I had, out of nowhere, I had to manage all these big chunks of money. I remember even, at some point I even got a hold by Klarna, and then I had to ask my parents, for like a loan or something, so I could continue to pay for my suppliers. But yeah, then at some point that's not manageable anymore, right? So yeah, that was a big thing, and I kind of just learned everything on the road, how to do everything, and but yeah, it was just a short-term thing, or at least in my mind, I didn't really think long-term back then.
Okay, and then this is in 2021.
Yeah, so 2020 I kind of just went on up until like the beginning of 2021, and then I think in 2021, so I made quite some money back then. I enjoyed like some time, and I did some holidays and stuff, but I kind of just reinvested like most of it back into the business because, as you know, e-commerce and especially dropshipping is like a scene where for every problem there's a solution, right? And all these solutions are super expensive, and so I kind of just reinvested everything into my business, so I didn't really have any money. But then this opportunity came around to move to Dubai. And I'm kind of developed in that, but I used to be like a super impulsive guy, so not really overthinking anything, just seeing the upside of everything. So overnight I just decided like, hey, I got a girlfriend here. I didn't have too many friends either, so I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just move to Dubai, and then set it up within a few months, and. But yeah, I wasn't at this point. I wasn't thinking anything long term, right? So it was. I'm really glad that I did it because I learned so much from it. But it was a really dumb decision because I didn't overthink it for a second. Like, how am I gonna do everything with taxes? Like, how is everything gonna work out? I just went with it. But yeah, then I was there, and then there was a lot of uncertainty regarding the VAT setup. Which caused me a lot of stress. I've honestly, so I was in Dubai. I was kind of scared, so I didn't really continue to advertise. So I was only just losing money every month. I was going in debt with my supplier as well. So, and because I had these debts and like no more money, just cost, like I wasn't feeling comfortable at all. I was also missing my family a lot because I was emotionally like very unstable. And
you were in Dubai at this time?
Yeah, in Dubai. So I was like, oh man, how am I gonna fix this, right? Because it was kind of a shit show. So yeah, how am I going to fix this? So then I decided to, because I visit the Netherlands here and there, and one time I visited the Netherlands and I met my girlfriend here in the Netherlands. So with that and, missing my family and stuff, I was like, yeah. And, not having income, just making costs, I was like, okay, I need to, fix something here. So I just moved back to the Netherlands. But then I obviously had a quite a chunk of costs again, because when you live in Dubai, you don't need to pay like any taxes. But since I only moved there for a short while, I still had to pay those taxes in the Netherlands, even for the period I lived in Dubai.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, I had quite a big debt, and obviously the taxes had priority before my supplier, for example. So yeah, I had quite a big debt with my supplier. That was like I think like a 30 to 40k debt. So I had no more money, 34 to 40k debt at that point. So yeah, going from doing 100k a month or something to back to like 40k debt, that's some serious stuff.
And how much time did this all happen?
I think like 6 months, like 5 to 6
still
months.
2021.
Yeah, this is still 2021. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was so stressed out by everything that I just took some time off drop shipping. I was like, yeah, okay, let's just even though I have that, because I was really good with my supplier. He's like, yeah, Bart, don't worry, we'll figure something out, right? Don't worry about it, and it's gonna be all right. So I was like, okay, hey, I need to take some time off drop shipping. I'm just gonna get like a regular job, work there, and I was calculating. I was like, okay, so I have this 40k debt, and my supplier was like, yeah, if you can pay me like 500 euros to like 1k a month back, then we will figure it out, don't worry. So I was like, okay, yeah, even with like a regular job, I'll still be able to figure things out, right? But then again, so I started working at this job, like a marketing company, and I was doing marketing there for a month. And it was like a medium company, so there was like 10 to 20 people, employees working there. And I worked quite closely to the owner of the company. And but yeah, like if you put, because I still had that entrepreneurial spirit, and if you put two very creative entrepreneurial people in one company, and one is able to make decisions and one is not, that's gonna conflict. It's gonna happen, and that's what happens. So for example, they did it in this company, and obviously it's really up to every company how they want to do their things. But what I saw is that they were doing like customers, like the business owner was doing a part of the customer service for one of their clients, and I came from a place, outsourcing a lot of stuff. Customer service is one of the first things you kind of hire someone for. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sorry, I'm not gonna do it. Can we maybe just hire someone from the Philippines? You pay them like $5 to $7 an hour, and they will take care. It wasn't English, so it wasn't even like native language or anything. So they could take perfectly care of that. But yeah, that wasn't possible. And for me, that was like, oh, all right, I need to get out of this environment, because I have all this creativity in me for, I want to optimize processes. I want to do better. I want to improve. And there wasn't really room for that, or at least not full. I wasn't in the place to
make the decisions.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, hey, fine, no hard feelings. I decided to quit. And then I think I just went back, doing like some freelance jobs. So at this point I was, still down like minus 40k, and not really having any money yet. So I was like, okay, hey, I need to figure something out, right? So I just started doing like freelance jobs, because I heard this podcast, because I was still into like all the entrepreneurial stuff. So I kind of just I listened to this podcast, or I heard like a video somewhere, and they said like, hey, this guy was saying I'd rather earn like just a little bit of money instead of no money, right? Because at that point I didn't have a job anymore, and I wasn't earning any money again, and I still had that debt. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just take any job at this point. So but it has to be something where I don't need to argue with, someone that's in charge, because that's gonna conflict. So I just started delivering pizzas through like a freelance job, and like working at these festivals behind the bar and stuff. I literally took like any job. But you could imagine like going from being a business owner, making quite some money, to delivering pizzas. In terms of mindset shift, that's quite a jump.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. No, definitely not. So for me, that was quite a thing, right? Also for my confidence, and obviously I had my girlfriend supporting me, so that helped me a great deal. My family is, even though my father and we had a little bit of conflict, when I wanted to drop out, he was always behind me, like, hey, Bart, you've got this. And I only told my father recently about the debt, and I told him that I took care of it. But then he told me, like, yeah, Bart, don't be afraid. Like, even though, like, we can have some conflict from time to time, we can always work things out. It's better to talk about these things instead of, just hiding it away. Because I literally hid it from everybody. Like, I didn't tell anybody. Only my supplier and me knew. So
I think that's normal. Like, most people would do that.
Yeah.
They first try to fix it themselves.
Yeah, but
which is maybe not always the best approach.
No, because it might get messier. But you know, I don't think even if I told my dad earlier, it wouldn't have helped. Because I would still have tried to figure everything out myself. But yeah, I was just delivering in these pizzas, and it was quite a thing, right? So what I did, I was delivering pizzas, working on festivals, doing everything to make some money, and I still remember your name from when I was in Joshua's course, because I think you did like a collaboration with them one time. And I was like, because my biggest problem was that, once I found a winning product, because I really at this point, and this is what I've kept with me for the rest of my, entrepreneurial journey. Whenever there's like a big problem going on or like a big bottleneck within your business, turn off emotions, analyze, hey, what is causing this bottleneck? Why is it, why are we not making money, or what's happening? Turn off emotions, disable or just kill that, that piece that's, keeping you from making money, remove it and continue, or fix a solution for it. And that's what I did. Because for me, like Facebook getting blocked, there weren't too much solutions back then as well. So for me, I was like, okay, hey, I need to, fix something that I'm not depending on Facebook anymore. So that's why I remembered you, because you were the Pinterest guy, the Pinterest god. And you just, for me, you were like, oh yeah, that's stability, like positive cash flow, like all these things I kind of, in my head, they were all attached to your persona. So I was like, okay, hey, I need to get like a coaching with you. And I hopped on a call with Hidde. And we got like we set up a payment plan so I could still afford it, but I think I paid like $500 a month or something like that, which is a lot if you're delivering pizzas. But I made it happen because I wanted really bad, because I had to, because I still had like a 40K debt. How are you? I couldn't just do that in 40 months. With a regular job. That's not me. that's not Bart, That's not Bart. That's just seeing upsides and everything. So I was like, okay, hey, this is possible. I've done it before. I can do it again. So yeah, from there I just followed the course, and I remember Hidde told me during the call, like, hey, Bart, it's really up to you. How much work you're going to put in, because what we see is like the people that put in the most work, they're the most likely to succeed. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be the one that succeeds again. I'm going to prove everybody, that it's possible. And I did, because like I think like 2 or 3 months after I joined Freecom, I started making some profits. Business started picking up again. I had like the person that really helped me was Umut as well. Shout out to Umut if you're listening. Really helped me.
Umut was on a podcast before as well.
Yeah.
So if you've seen that podcast, you know him. Yeah.
So he's a great guy. Helped me scaling, and from there it took off again. So
and when exactly did you start coaching?
I think I started in like May with the course, and then I was watching through the videos. I think I started advertising in June, so that's exactly 1 year ago now.
Yeah. And you quickly said it, but I think we didn't really talk about it in depth. Like one of the reasons why you switched to Pinterest was the Facebook blogs as well, or you didn't have Facebook blogs.
Yeah, I did. So I did have a lot of Facebook blogs, and there was just a lot of inconsistency. Maybe it was, or not maybe, it was probably just me because there were already solutions out there, but I didn't really have the cash flow also to start again with these solutions because it's quite expensive to start with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, the most logical step, and I also kind of developed this. I attached the feeling of bad cash flow, blogs, and all these things I attached to the word Facebook and to the platform Facebook in my head. Right, it wasn't necessarily the case because friends of mine continued to advertise on Facebook throughout those years as well without too much hassle because they came up with these solutions and stuff. But for me, I attached those things. So for me, I was like, okay, I need to find something outside of Facebook. Yeah. And for me, Pinterest was the perfect solution for that.
Cool. And then you started advertising in June. So around September, October, you were making profit?
No, earlier, I think. I think in like August or something.
Okay.
Already, quite quickly. It was summer on Pinterest is good, so that definitely helps.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I already had some experience from e-commerce, so it was not like I was a complete beginner.
Yeah. And you started in the beginner program?
I did the beginner. Because he said to me like, hey, you can also start in like the advanced coaching because you already have some experience. But I was like, yeah, true, but no experience in Pinterest. And Pinterest is a whole different game compared to Facebook. Like Facebook is so easy when you compare it to Pinterest in terms of, you can either scale a product, yes or no. There's like nothing like gray area or something. And Pinterest, you have like and that's what I actually love. And that's also what we teach in the course, right? You can really make a difference with that on Pinterest because there is the possibility to optimize a product. There is room for improvement and to out-compete your competitors.
There's room for that on every platform, I believe. There you can always improve a product. It's just something that's not very common for dropshippers on Facebook. But I'm 100% sure now that you're going to sell on Facebook as well, everything you've learned from advertising on Pinterest, you're going to have a big advantage over a lot of people on Facebook.
100%. And also, but I think, for Pinterest, it's going to be very hard if you don't do any optimization on your products, and you are able to do it. It's just going to be a little bit harder. So yeah, keeping that in mind and the things that I need to learn and that I just had Facebook experience, no Pinterest experience. I started with the beginner's course and picked up quite quickly, I would say.
Yeah, I would say like the difference between Facebook and Pinterest, like both have their pros and cons. And with Facebook, like you can find a winner faster. You have like more winners, a higher winner rate, as some people would call it. You can do the same thing as you're doing on Facebook, on Pinterest, but it's definitely going to be harder if you don't optimize your products, you don't optimize your funnel. And one of the reasons I believe why it's easier on Facebook, there are a couple of reasons. They just have a better algorithm. They've been advertising for more. They have a lot more data than Pinterest, so
bigger audience.
It's more expensive, but also because they are better. Yeah. Like you pay more for clicks and everything, but you are gonna get a higher conversion rate because Facebook has better quality traffic.
Also, the way the algorithm works, of course, because the way stuff is showed on Pinterest is completely different compared to Facebook and Instagram.
And they have a lot more users, so the amount of people, like on Pinterest, the audience is usually pretty smart, and there are statistics on this. On Pinterest, the average income of users on Pinterest is a lot higher compared to Facebook, which in a not very nice way to say on means that on Facebook there are a lot more stupid people, and stupid people buy faster. So you can get away with a lot more.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them stupid. I mean, it's just people with lower income compared to.
Yeah. I mean, that's a nicer way to say it.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like the people that are on Facebook are more likely to be triggered by emotional triggers, by pain points and stuff like that. That's and also on Pinterest, there's like so many people out there, of course, but there's just more on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe stupid people is not the right word. I mean, like they're not very smart in the whole ecom
They are not familiar.
in online shopping and stuff like that. So they're easier to be converted. So yeah, that's the difference. But the whole like process of optimization, learning that, and then applying it to Facebook, where you already convert all those people that would convert anyway, but now you also optimize to have those people that are harder to convert, which you've learned on Pinterest. I'm sure it's gonna help you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you can do this on any platform, like TikTok, Facebook, Google. It doesn't matter. Like everywhere you can optimize, and that's like that should be the normal process of running an e-commerce business, right? You'd start to test something, you fail because it's not working. You learn what you can improve, and over time, the product's gonna get better and better, and you're gonna make more and more money.
Yes, that's correct.
That's how it should go, but most people who start out on Facebook, and including myself, like I didn't do this when I started out. Like it's normal. Like,
and I'm advertising back again on Facebook right now. So I do Pinterest, Google, and Facebook. And I see it on Facebook as well right now. So I do make like these minor changes to my product pages or campaigns, and it does really help. So taking the knowledge from Pinterest going to Facebook is really valuable.
Okay, so August 2022, we're making profit. What was the like official month you completed the program? You have any idea?
I think it's September.
September,
yes, like 4 months.
Okay, so the beginner program, for those that don't know, you complete it if you make 3K profit in a month. What happened from there? Because you've, I think, definitely made a lot of growth even from there.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said earlier, I'm always striving to grow, always striving to improve, and also with this, right? And I started to read a lot of books again, really started to pick things up, and what I did from there is, at first I was like, I just want to chill with like make enough money, more than average, so I can just afford my stuff and still have freedom. But yeah, I mean that you're always eager for more, man. Like you always, and that's because you always want to, or at least I always want to improve. So yeah, if you do like 20K in revenue 1 month, you want to do 30K the next month, and that's why companies. Like they also want to improve profits, like bigger companies. Everybody wants to improve. So what I just did is I just continued, trying to build up a team. And one thing I started to do is like meet a little bit again with like people from ecom. So I started talking to people, and from there on it just started to build up a network. So I started talking to Jonas. Shout out Jonas. He's probably watching us as well. Good friend of mine. And just starting to provide value to other people in order to gain a bigger network. Because that's one thing I remembered from Facebook. Like if you have a big network, like when there's an issue or when you are in trouble, there's always people that are either in the same position or already have been in that position, and they can help you out, or even push you to grow further. So yeah, that's one thing I really learned from my previous experience, that it's really important to have a good network. And so I kind of just started focusing on that, building my team, building backend, building systems, stuff like that. So yeah, from there on, just trying to improve pretty much, and that's going pretty well so far. So
Great.
Now it's way more long term compared to before.
Great. And from there, I know like you networked a lot, yes, and but like, is there something specifically that you did differently in order to not get into the same position as what happened to Facebook?
For sure. So I read this book. It's called Atomic Habits. You probably read it as well. And the thing I learned from that, and it's literally my life phrase. I live by it every day. So what I do is I reward myself not for my results, but for the amount of work I put in every day, right? So instead of rewarding yourself for instead of rewarding yourself for when you achieve something, so when you achieve like a specific result, so let's say like 3K in profit, I reward myself for the moment or the day when I work towards achieving that 3K in profit. And that really helped me going from, instead of just rewarding yourself for those things, just rewarding yourself for putting in the work. That really helped me. And also the phrase, I can't remember how it exactly went. I think it's you will not eat the fruits today. No, it's something like you cannot eat the fruits today of the plants you plant today, right? So the plants the seeds you plant today, you will only be able to eat those fruits later on. So what I learned from that is that the work I put in today, I will only get to see the results later on. So in order to have a continuous cycle of profit, I need to just continue working every day. And when I find a winning product, I shouldn't stop testing new products, because that product is going to die out at some point, and then I need another new winning product, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just those two things. So rewarding myself for putting in the work and just focusing on that long-term thing and a continuous cycle. Those really helped me, and avoided myself from having the same situation again.
And I think by now you have a pretty good system set up in order to make sure you continue to make profit, right?
Yeah, really good team behind me. So yeah, good team, good systems. We definitely focus a lot on back end, especially the last few months. That's what I usually do, because the last few months I've been on and off a little bit with Pinterest, and like when the market is down a little bit, I just go back, reflect on how stuff is going, and just work on the things I can work on, which is usually back end. With back end I mean my team and my system, so everything that's not directly linked to profits, to marketing, exactly. Yeah. And with front end, that's marketing. So yeah, we just focus on that, make sure everybody is in the right place, systems in the right place, and yeah, just networking again. And you really see the results of that when the market is up again, because now markets are pretty decent, everything is going quite all right, and compared to the last few months. So yeah, I can really see the difference between me and other entrepreneurs, that didn't really do and that didn't really focus on back end over the past few months.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem for a lot of dropshippers. Yeah. They forget they have a back end too sometimes.
Yeah, it's really funny, and it is possible to scale to a very high amount of revenue without a solid back end. But the problem is you cannot maintain it, and you at some point you will just reach a cap.
What happens for a lot is they scale too fast. They don't have the systems, processes, team, everything, the whole backend in place to handle that volume, and then a lot of people end up in debt, or if they're lucky, not in debt, but they just lose all their profits basically. So yeah, that's often forgotten, and it's very important. And even with like a poor backend, having a poor backend is already better than having nothing. But even with a poor backend, like you can do like 100K a month and get away with it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If you want to grow beyond that, you have to like improve that.
Yeah, and also you wanna, or at least I wanna build something, right? I want to provide for the people that are in my team, provide for myself, for my for people around me. I want to do fun things. I want to create something that's sustainable, that's that we can maintain for a longer time. And you should go. The thing I did, at least, I went from the sprint mindset, so just doing short sprints, thinking like everything will be over tomorrow. I went from that mindset to going to a marathon mindset. So okay, guys, we're running a marathon, okay? So what do we need? We need good running shoes. We need, and same thing with business. Like you need to focus, okay, hey, how can we improve the system so we don't need to do this task over and over again unnecessary, and stuff like that. And I went from that sprint mindset to the marathon mindset, and I really see that difference in business now.
I was just thinking about this. Did you get a 7-figure what? Or did you do 7 figures on Pinterest?
Well, in total, not with Pinterest yet. We will hit it soon, but
in total, you did.
Yeah, in total I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think with Facebook back then I did like 4 to 500k, and then I went to minus 40k,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I checked like a few days ago. I did in the last year did like 600k with just been on one store.
Okay.
So
So
it sounds like a lot, but if you calculate it back, it's like 50k a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also the good thing about Pinterest. Like,
It's consistent.
it's so consistent. Like I made profit even in a bad month, you made profit
Yeah.
because it's so consistent. If you have the right systems, of course. Because if you're just depending on one product and then stop testing, then you're not that consistent. But if you continue testing and doing your thing, then it's
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. Like, if you do 50k a month for a lot of dropshippers, that would sound like not a lot because it's like 1.5k a day.
yeah,
But like on Pinterest, that can easily make you 10 to 20k in profit.
for sure.
So, and on you can, of course, on any platform you can make that profit, but on Facebook, usually, especially for beginners, it's a lot lower. Like it's you're
Pinterest is
lucky.
very profitable, man. I've done months like 30% profit margin.
Yeah, like on Facebook, you're lucky to if you do 50k to have like 5k at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Also with like the expensive to stay online and stuff. It's
Yeah, and I would say like for most people, even that's like that's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you know, both work. It all depends on like what you do as a person. At the end, you're responsible. So
you know, I mean, if you do a million with Facebook and keep 5%, you know, then
that's also not bad.
that's not bad. So you know,
Still, I would rather do 150k and on Pinterest and keep that 50k than a million on,
for 100%.
because that's a lot more.
a lot more work, a lot more customer
yeah.
service, a lot more issues.
A lot more headaches, but yeah. So I want to get back to the mindset stuff, and like I said in the beginning, like you helped with the 21-day challenge. We did 2 challenges by now. I also noticed like when you speak, I think you're a born coach. Like you like, and you do the skateboarding lessons as well. So I think that shows it too. You're kind of born to help people. I think you get a lot of energy from that. But I want to quickly just talk about like in the 21-day challenge, we have now talked about your story. I think when a lot of people hear this, at least that's what I get back from these podcasts, they're very inspiring. And there's like some epiphanies in there when you listen to someone else's podcast and you hear what they went through in order to get to the place where they're now. They get a lot of motivation from that. I'm 100% sure in your situation, having to deal with the debt or something that went wrong, most people would have quit there. How do you make sure you either get back from that or you don't quit? Like, what would your advice be? Because most people do quit at that point.
Yeah.
Even before that already, obviously, like most
Yeah.
people already quit before that. But
Yeah, so embrace the madness, man. Don't run from it. Embrace the madness. Like so many people, when you know, entrepreneurship sometimes feels like a madhouse, or because so many things are going on, right? Don't run from it. Embrace it, and if you're able to do that, then you'll make it.
and how do you embrace it?
It's really just continuing, even though results are not there. Obviously, you know, you don't want to go like you want to avoid going bankrupt and all that stuff. But even if that happens, what then? Like, some people think the world will end if your business fails, or if you don't find your winner by tomorrow. Like, the world doesn't end. Your life doesn't end when your business doesn't succeed tomorrow or the day after that, right? You can always try again. And I mean, I think I'm the living example of that. You know, I went from doing quite some revenue to minus quite some. And yeah, look where we are now. I'm back up again.
Yeah.
And I could go down 10 more times. Don't care. I would go back up because I know it's possible. I know there are possibilities, and if I really want it, then yeah, I can go get it. And this is for everybody. So yeah, no matter how many times you think you will fail or you're actually failing, you will always get back up if you want to.
Did you often consciously think about this? Like, what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the mindset you just explained. Like, well, if your business fail, like, okay, then what? Like, what's really the worst thing that can happen? Like,
For sure.
Ultimately, I think there's only one worst thing that can happen, and that's death. And if you maybe get into spirituality and philosophy enough, you also don't fear death anymore. Then there's really nothing to lose. So, but is that something that you've, like, at that time as well, consciously?
Yeah, I've always been conscious of this, and yeah, I mean, you know what is the worst thing that can happen, right? So let's say when I dropped out of school, my business didn't work out at that point, right? I ran out of money. So what I would have done probably is I could have done two things, right? I could have gone back to school. I was just still living with my parents. And even so, and there will be people in the comment section or whatever saying, yeah, but I live on my own, I have my kid. No excuses, man. Those are just excuses. Like, even then, you can still go ahead, find a regular job, continue to pay your bills, whatever, figure something out. If you're really creative and really willing to achieve something, you can always figure something out. And, you know, you can just take care of stuff like that.
I think there's plenty of examples of people that succeeded from a place like that as well. There are plenty of examples of people that succeeded from a place a lot worse where you are in right now. Or I mean the person watching this. So that's definitely not an excuse.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, you can always get back up. It really depends on yourself and your creative ways of figuring out ways to get money and to make things happen.
Yeah, I believe that. I never want to say anyone, but I think, well, fuck it, anyone can
succeed. Anyone can. It's like, I wouldn't say anyone can invent a light bulb, but with e-commerce, everyone that breathes, has fingers to type on a keyboard, and is not living in a third world country, and even then there's possibilities, of course, because, you know, people will complain about anything, but, you know, most people that are watching this, you know, I mean, the fact that you're watching this, it means you have access to Wi-Fi.
Yeah. If you're watching this, chances very high that you can do this.
So yeah, obviously I'm not saying people, you know, that are like in a war or whatever, for them it's, you know, not the time right now. But most people will definitely be able to succeed with e-com.
What is something that you've noticed from, like, helping beginners? I think we, in the last 2 21-day challenges, we had like well over 200 participants. What is a pattern that you've seen, if there's any, but between the people that have succeeded in these challenges and the people that maybe are still working on it?
I think the biggest difference is people that have succeeded, they just listen to the coaches, like one-on-one. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are trying to reinvent the wheel. So what they are trying is to, you know, do everything just a tiny bit different, just do things on their own. And I could name so many examples, like just making these tiny little changes. But those tiny changes, that, you know, way of doing things on your own, that's not going to help you get to the point where you want to be in the quickest way possible. And I think people that listen, you know, one-on-one, and why would you even try? Like, why would you go? Because you're in that coaching for a reason, right? You're there to learn something. Why would you try to do things on your own that it doesn't make sense.
I think being coachable is a skill. Like
For sure.
after coaching like a lot of people, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I get very happy if I have a call with a new student, and they are humble and they are ready to learn.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll get that first call and you can immediately notice, okay,
This is not gonna be the one. No.
this is someone
Yeah.
thinks knows everyone. Is
everything
almost trying to coach you while you are
Yeah.
supposed to coach them.
That's the thing you just said. Like being humble, it's really key in entrepreneurship. I think.
And like, of course, yes, you don't want to have that mindset where you just do everything that someone tells you. I mean, you're started to become an entrepreneur for a reason. You probably don't like that authority too much, but you need to understand that you're not listening to your teacher or your parents. You're listening to someone who wants to help you grow your business, and they've done it before you, and they probably know more than you.
I see the same thing with skateboarding. So I'm teaching skateboarding on the weekends. So yeah, I run a successful business and also teach skateboarding on the weekends. It's just something I do but for fun. But what I see over there is like I have kids in my classes. They are from age 6 to like 12. And what I see a lot is like kids that have no prior experience with skateboarding learn the quickest. Because they are still so, they will take everything from you because they don't have any knowledge.
It's like a white paper. It's a blank page,
Exactly. It's blank. It hasn't been formed yet, or in whatever way. And I see people, or I see kids coming in. They tried something on their own, and if they taught themselves how to do skateboarding, sometimes they do it in the proper way, but most of the times they do it in the wrong way. And then what happens is that I first need to unteach them how to.
And it takes a lot more time.
It takes so much more time. So, and I see the same thing in the coaching with the 21-day challenge. Like the people with no experience and that are willing to listen, willing to be humble, and willing to make something out of it. Those are the people that are more likely to succeed.
I would say, like, of course, you want to keep your creativity. You want to be innovative. You want to do your own thing, test your own things, but maybe after you already have some success, maybe the timing for those people is not very good.
You need credibility to test your own things, I think.
Yeah, I think. Well, you just need to have cash flow.
yeah.
You want to make money first, right?
Yeah, true. So yeah, just cash flow exactly. But cash flow is a result of, doing it well, I would say. In e-commerce, being good in e-commerce, it's a result that you're able to make money, and that comes from listening to the correct people, I would say.
Yeah, it's just stubbornness, bit of ego. Yeah, these people need to get rid of. Like, just coming into it and just thinking, okay, I'm going to forget everything that I've learned so far, which is maybe it's hard. But I'm going to forget everything I learned so far. I'm just going to do everything as they say. And I'm not saying we have the perfect strategy, but we do have a strategy that works, and it has been proven over and over again. Yeah, and a lot of students from my course, probably also from other courses, that have succeeded using our strategies. So there's not really a reason to, if you don't have any success at all, to try to push your own thing.
True, and obviously, strategies change over time. Like I think that's also another important thing to continue doing drop shipping, to not get attached too much to one specific thing that used to work, but really just try and continue to adapt, and continue to improve, change our strategies when the market changes as well. And I think a lot of people there are too attached to their strategies that used to work but are not working anymore.
Yeah, and that's something that's been happening in the past months a lot on Pinterest. Pinterest has been under investigation, therefore they had to make a lot of changes to their platform, advertising algorithm, things not very advertiser friendly, which led to a lot of people leaving the platform. So I hope soon, when they fix everything, there's an entire blue ocean for us again. So maybe it will all be for the better, but as of right now, it's like a little bit of like you find something that works again, and they make a change again, and then it's. But that's your skill to be innovative, and of course in our program, like there's a lot of people that are doing Pinterest, so we get to solutions pretty fast in general in our program, and we discuss it in our coaching, so that's great. And of course, like building up your network, having a lot of people around you doing the same thing, and finding these solutions helps a lot. But that's maybe more something. Well, it's important for a beginner too, but especially if you're already up and running, you don't want to get stuck to one thing. I'm curious where you're at right now. Like you've had, I think you're at least like in the beginning, you always like very, very much like, okay, as long as I have enough money, everything is good. Did that change a little bit? Do you now have more motivation to grow your business?
Yeah, I do. So I've always been very, very.
Because I remember even in calls with you, you were also like, let's say like we had calls like half a year ago, maybe even more, where you were also a little bit more like, it was a little bit different than other students. Like a lot of students, they just want to grow, and you're more like, hey, it's chill. I just want to have this consistency and just. But I'm wondering if that changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did change a little bit. I'm not that type of guy that wants to like, okay, let's push for $1 million this month, for example. Like because for me that million or however much you're gonna make, like it's just a symbol for something bigger, right? And that we need to break that down into a few things, because like what is your motivation to do this, right? What is your motivation to make money? And I've been thinking about that a lot. And for me, it used to be just because I honestly really hated the fact that I was always so limited in my creativity, and entrepreneurship was the only way I could escape from that. So for me, it was the motivation. Hey, I hate working for these companies where I'm so limited. I just want to do my own stuff, and doesn't even matter how much money I make. So for me, money wasn't really the thing. But going a little. So I read a lot of stuff about purpose, and I do think I found my purpose. So I've been obsessed like my entire life with this. It's like so I grew up, skateboarding, riding BMX, all that stuff, and I've always wanted to go to this summer camp. It's called Camp Woodward. It's in the USA. It's very big. It's like an extreme sports camp. It's huge. But yeah, it's only for kids from the USA. Yeah. Because you cannot travel alone to the USA if you're from Europe or whatever. It costs a lot of money, stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty much impossible as a kid. Even though I was able to always figure something out, for that I wasn't able to.
I think they only have it in the US.
Right? Yeah, I wasn't.
That's specific. I don't know if there's something else in Europe that's similar, but
no. There's nothing even close to that in terms of size and stuff. So yeah, but I always want to go there. And do you ever want something so bad that you wake up in the middle of the night and you were dreaming about that thing, and that you wake up and hey, shit, it was just a dream, and that you, as a kid, I countless times I woke up as a kid in the middle of the night crying, like, oh, in my dream I was there, but in reality I couldn't go there. So yeah, that always stayed with me, like the whole Camp Woodward thing, and I always want to go there. It's such a big dream. And then in 2019, I had the opportunity. So I was already like 20 at that point. So the camp is only for kids up until 18. So I already surpassed that age, but I was skating with some friends of mine in a local park, and one of my friends said like, "Hey, what's up with this Camp Woodward? Does it still exist?" And I didn't think about it for quite a few years, because the dream kind of just.
But it's only for people under 18.
Yeah, under 18. It's like just for kids actually.
Oh.
So it's for kids like from 6 to 18.
Okay.
And yeah, there are also adults over there, but they are there on invite because they're like a pro skater or whatever. or they do work there. So a friend of mine said like, "Hey, this Camp Woodward, does it still exist?" And I was, "Oh yeah, let's Google it." So I googled their website, and then I visited their page, and it said that they were looking for volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, yes, please. That's my dream."
Mm-hmm.
And all my friends, and this is again the funny thing that kind of separates me from other people. Like other people would say, "Oh yeah, but you need to buy an expensive ticket. How is it going to be possible? You're not going to the USA in your just by yourself."
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about all the the downsides of the things that could be true. And the only thing I thought is, I will go to that camp for 5 weeks this summer,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing is going to stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
I just thought about, okay, hey, the plane ticket is like $700, like 800 maybe. How do I get that money?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the money, but I still managed to get the plane ticket. I don't know. I just kind of hustled some money together. I think like even partly paid with a credit card or something. I was like, yeah, whatever. That's a worry for later.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there so bad. And like going there was really a dream coming true for me. But like I was reading, so there was a great summer. Spent there I worked there for like 5 weeks as a volunteer. I just work, they call it a dish dog, so that you work just doing dishes in the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen. I did that for 5 weeks straight just to be able to be there and skateboard. But yeah, then like I think it was last year, I was reading a book, and it's such a great book. It's called The Surfer, the Saint, and the CEO. It's a very very valuable book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about purpose and stuff. And they in that book they say like, hey, your purpose, it's already within you, right? So it's something you don't need to seek it outside of yourself. It's already in there. You can feel it if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, it couldn't make any more sense than creating my own Camp Woodward in Europe. So I know that is my purpose, but I do need a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
And in my dreams, I see kids hugging me because I made that experience possible for them. The experience I wasn't able to have as a kid because I wasn't able to visit the USA. So in my dreams, I see those kids. When I do a visualization session, a mindset session with Jürgen, or when we're in the coaching, I think about that stuff. I think about myself driving through the playground I created for all those kids.
Mm-hmm.
And have the time of their lives, and having that higher purpose, and knowing, okay, hey, I need to hustle right now to get money to make that become reality.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me my fire within like is fueled so bad by that. Like I go so hard every day because I know, okay, hey, that's what I need to do. It's not a question of just personal earnings. For me, it's really higher purpose at work here. It's not a question of wanting. For me, it's really, I need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is my purpose. I need to create that thing for myself here in Europe.
If you build one, then I'm definitely gonna come.
You're invited.
For sure.
You're invited for sure.
Where do you think you would put it?
It has to be like the location has to make sense, because you want to attract people from all over Europe.
I don't know where most skaters are located.
Yeah, I think it's just probably going to be like southern Germany, or maybe Netherlands, because I'm from the Netherlands myself. It has to be close to an airport because people will fly in from all over Europe, even internationally as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
If you build one, I will come for sure.
You're invited, for sure.
But that's great, and that I think makes everything a lot easier to have that purpose.
100%. It makes it. I mean, I would still be able to work every day, and without that purpose, because a lot of people because people watching right now, if you like, okay, hey, I actually don't know what I'm chasing.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it time. It's eventually everybody will, if you really work on it, because you will not find your purpose by accident. That's not how it happens. You really need to work on it, meditate, focus. It doesn't come easy, but once you find it, it's such a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. What did you ever like consider to like what's your plan, or what do you expect when you would start to build something like that? Is it just more of something that's in the future and it will come, or
Yeah, so I've already set up a few things for it, and it is gonna happen. It doesn't have my priority right now because obviously I need quite some money to realize it. So I do have something planned out, like hey, then and then I wanna really start things. But yeah, for now it's really just dreams and something I want to make true in the future.
Okay, cool. And I think we're almost 2 hours in already. I want to ask like one final question, maybe two. But what is your do you have a goal for your business right now, for the end of this year or within the next year?
I mean, I do have some revenue goals, but I don't think that's really important to share. I think for me, the most important thing is that that I can continue doing the things I love, which is skateboarding, spending time with friends, and growing myself, personal and business. And I'm not the type of guy that pushes his business to the limit. Obviously, I know I have goals in terms of revenue, but I'm not the type of guy that and will put everything at risk to achieve those things.
But like, I mean, maybe it's like you want to like set up a brand, or you just want to continue dropshipping.
I mean, dropshipping is the best cash flow provider for me right now, and I just need cash flow in order to start the other thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense.
That's it for me.
Okay. Cool. Then to end off, I want to ask: is there like one piece of advice that we haven't given yet in this podcast? Because I think we shared a lot already. One piece of advice of which you think, hey, if you're gonna implement this, then your chances to be successful are a lot higher.
Yeah.
For someone who's starting out.
Yeah, don't launch ads on a Sunday in Spain, man. That's no, just kidding.
Why?
No. It's an inside joke from the 21-day challenge. No, but it's such a cliche. Just work. It doesn't matter what everybody says. Just work on your dreams, man. It's really just work. The only thing that separates you between your dreams is there's maybe 0.1% luck. The rest is just work. Just if you wanna work something, the only thing that's in between there. If I compare myself to other skateboarders, for example, there's a small bit of athletic stuff going on there, but it's mainly just they worked harder, did more training on their tricks and stuff like that. Same thing as for business and things you want to achieve.
Yeah.
The person that's farther than you just worked harder, worked more.
Yeah. I think that's a great conclusion at the end of this podcast. What we talked earlier about, like it's so easy right now. Of course, in terms of percentages of how many people eventually are successful and how many people quit, you could say it's not easy. But we know like it's so easy right now that really there's not a lot of skill involved. It's most of it just comes down to keep working and don't giving up. Great. Then I want to thank you for this podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I hope we're going to do a lot more stuff in the future, and we can help a lot more people. Thank you for being here, and good luck, and I'll see you in Cambodia.